What's going on YouTube? Cloverbuzz here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be going over the Merida Regionals that finished over this past weekend. So this is again just more data and more results to go over as we head on closer to EUIC, European International Championships. And again, if you're going, this is one of the tournaments that you're going to have to look at and see just what are people using and what is our latest renditions of standard archetypes, right? But before we even talk about any of those results and any of the data that we're going to go over, I have something to show you, right? If you haven't known this already, I put a post on this on the community tab. I put this on Discord, and I also put this on Twitter, but here it is. yes, we completed the three-peat journey. All right, we are now three-time champions here. If you guys don't know, again, I am a basketball coach, and we just completed history here in New York City. We did win our third straight state championships here, and this is the result here. So it's been a long 3 years, of course. A lot of my time went into the regular season. We finished 14-0 in the regular season. We did not lose a single. So that was already like an achievement enough. And then I was preparing for playoffs, semifinals, and then finally on Monday we had the finals, and we got the job done there. So now this medal, if you don't know where I put all these medals, let me show you. Okay, right over here we have our Celesteela plush. Okay, and this is where we're gonna put the third medal right here. Again, I'm taking some time in the video to go through this, so if this is something that you don't really care for, you can just skip the timestamp. But now Celesteela has three three state championships. All right, but yeah, so we took a day off yesterday, but now we got to get right back to the Pokemon stuff. So there is no real off season for me, right? So but yeah, here we go. So now let's just go over the results, and let me put this plush down. Alright, so let's take a look at some users data. So Urshifu, Incineroar, and Amoonguss here at 1, 2, and 3. So Fire, Water, Grass score, pretty understandable, and no question about it, Urshifu Rapid Strike at number 1 here. Then you have Ogerpon and Rillaboom here. Again, terrain advantage is huge when you have a Miraidon big format. To be able to take away terrain is going to be important. Fake out pressure is also really nice. And then just having Grassy glide pressure into the Urshifu Rapid Strike / Woodhammer stuff is always pretty important there, right? Ogerpon Heartflame, again, just another really good, strong physical attacker. +1 attack when you Terra it. Really strong damage output into stuff like, Ice Rider for that matter. And it's really good against Rillaboom too, okay? And it's a good partner for Rillaboom too. And you get a nice little Fire, Water, Grass core when you partner this with Urshifu too. So no question about it there. Then you get stuff like Raging Bolt, Fluttermane, and Landorus. So now you're talking about more A-tier staples. So Fluttermane, again, this time around is still that Icy Wind Thunder Wave support variant, right? If you even just click Fluttermane here, and if you're just able to observe it, okay, you can see it right here. Moonblast, Icy Wind, and then there's Thunder Wave over there. And seldomly, you'll also see Taunt over there. So again, more or less a support set. And then from here, Landorus, again, another good popular option right now, just for your Miraidon matchup, and also for Zamazenta technically as well. Farigiraf, again, denying priority. Look at the fake out users here, and look at the priority users here. And then, just Trick Room balance is also really good with Farigiraf. So it's always going to be, high usage. And then after that, you get stuff like Chenpao. Iron Hands is still a really good Pokemon, especially when paired with Miraidon. But again, Chenpao gives you that dark type advantage for the Shadow Rider matchup. And then just being able to blow up terrain with Ice Spinner. And then Whimsicott, again, another good aggressive Tailwind setter along with Tornadus that can, occasionally click Helping Hand, Encore stuff, Light Screen. Very good Pokemon to have. Besides the Rain Dance stuff from Tornadus, you have Sunny Day options, from your Whimsicott. But ideally, look at this set here. This is always usually the set for Miraidon teams here. So like 60% of the Whimsicotts are with the Miraidon idea. So yeah, no real change, honestly, from what we've seen up until this point. In terms of restricteds, Calyrex-Ice Rider is the one to beat right now. Again, 20% usage from day 1. And then after that, Miraidon at 18%, CSR at 14.8%, and then Zamazenta 12%. And then, Terapagos and Kyogre neck and neck there. So, as expected, honestly. But you'll always see some flip-flop between like Ice Rider, Miraidon, and CSR. That's been happening for, you know, the last few months of the format, you know, going back to the first time around in Regulation G. But then when you look at just Top Cut, you know, just within the 40 teams here, again, you know, you're still getting Urshifu now, still 55%. Rillaboom now at number 2 with 35% usage. Amoonguss and Incineroar, again, rounding this up. You know, again, balanced cores are always really good right now in a restricted format. Then you get the Genies here at 5 and 6. You know, Raging Bolt here, still pretty tops there. Heart Flame, a little bit of a dip there, 22% versus, you know, the 31%. So, you know, did not convert well into day 2. Chi-Yu entering the fray here at 17.5% usage. Again, you know, the fact that you can add a Choice Scarf to this and snarl a CSR, a Calyrex Shadow Rider, without having to, you know, need Tailwind is going to be important there, right? And you can see, you know, lots of Scarf users on the Chi-Yu team. But then from here, look, you also get the Ogerpon Cornerstone, which again is another good Ogerpon besides the Heart Flame there. You know, you're not really seeing as much Wellspring, but, you know, Wellspring is a little bit more niche. And I think with more Kyogre usage, you know, Wellspring will find its way into the format when the time comes here. But in terms of, you know, restricteds, Ice Rider at 25, CSR at 15%. And look at this. How about Terapagos at number 3 here? You know, Zamazenta still at 12% there. Miraidon all the way down to 10. So only 4 Miraidon teams for that matter. Just, you know, within the top cut there. So, you know, very interesting. Not top cut, day 2, I would say. So, you know, just looking at the data here. So you have 10 Ice Rider teams and you have 6 Shadow Rider teams. So 16 of the 40 day 2 teams were a Calyrex team. So that's like, you know, that's a little less than half, but that's a lot, you know, considering, you know, you're only allowed 1 restricted there. So very interesting there. And the fact that, you know, Pagos and Zamazenta still neck and neck here, 6 versus 5 teams is interesting. And again, as many Kyogre teams as there are Miraidon. So, you know, honestly, it's a small regional, right? So take the data for what you will, but it's still, you know, up-to-date results. And, you know, it is a tour that has happened. And you'll probably see some stuff that happened in this tour, you know, moving forward as we get into EUIC. But now what I want to do is just look at the teams here, because the teams are going to tell more of the story, you know, and we'll explain why some of these Pokemon get the usage that they're getting, okay? So let's take a look. All right, so let's look at the top 8 results here. So let's look at first place here from Daniel Nunez. And this is the Miraidon Assault Vest with the Dondozo Tatsugiri stuff. So this is the same squad as like the World Championships from last year. The only difference here is you have Soak Tatsugiri here, and that's going to be a pretty good combination, you know, with Miraidon here, because now what you could do is, you know, use the Tatsugiri to outspeed the Miraidon, click Soak, and now everything just dies to an electric type attack there, right? So you could do Soak, Electro Drift stuff, and that's very punishing, because now the Tatsugiri can not only just be paired with Dondozo and go with the commander stuff, but now it's also used as a support piece outside of Dondozo that can partner well with the Miraidon there. So you can definitely do something like that. Same thing here, you know, with Goldango, technically with Thunderbolt there if you want to play that direction. But it's nice to see the Tatsugiri, you know, be played in a role like this. After that, it's just pretty standard, you know, just from the Worlds team from last year. You know, you got the Dondozo Tatsugiri, so, you know, with Crash, Order Up, and Earthquake. And then Dragonite can come in and also do tons of damage with the Choice Band, Terra Normal stuff. Again, you already know what you're doing with your Extreme Speed, priority moves. Then you have like just raw outrage damage here. Goldango's pretty good, especially with Terra Steel now. You know, Goldango's a little bit more situational, especially in a Calyrex Shadow Rider heavy format, but it can still do the job here. And then you know what you're doing, you know, with Chi-Yu and Miraidon here. The Chi-Yu with the Sash, you know, not pretty useful into the CSR matchup, especially when you can always click Dark Pulse and then just one-shot it and force out a Terra potentially, right? So I do like this, you know, from Daniel. So shout out to them for winning the whole thing. Then you had Marcus here, right? Marcus Dion traveling all the way down there, you know, with this Zamazenta Chenpao Entei balance idea. And again, we've seen this before already. This is nothing new, but, you know, Chenpao just enables a lot of these partners here, especially with Entei, Zam, and Urshifu. You have Ice Spinner to blow up terrain. You know, you have Throat Chop, manual Dark Move against the Calyrex, not always having to rely on Sucker Punch. Amoonguss for your Trick Room matchup, especially with Rocky Helmet. able to break Sash and deter things. And then the Flutter Mane, a support set. And Marcus is going all 3 support moves. Icy Wind, Taunt, and Thunder Wave. Usually you'll have 2 of the 3, and then Protect. But Marcus says, nah, I don't need Protect. I'm just going to go with these moves and just be better with my positioning, right? I love the Goggles Taunt idea with Urshifu. Again, that's something that's been used before. This is going to get you around Amoonguss, and then, just blast those Calyrex-Ice Rider teams, especially, they have like a lot of redirection support. So you can get away with that. And then Taunt is really good at denying like Trick Room and other setup stuff. So shout outs to Marcus for doing well there. And we see an almost exact team here from Hans. Right, the only difference is they have the Ditto here rather than the Urshifu, which is still like okay in a nutshell, because again the Ditto has the ability to copy another restricted. So if you're ever in that position, the Ditto can do well there, and we've seen what Ditto can do in the past. But other than that, it's the same 5 squad. Then you had Marco over here, another Zamazenta team, right? So lots of Zamazentas doing well here. This is an HO variant with Tornadus, Chiyu, Flutter Mane. So, you've got Sunny Day here, which can enable both of these, as well as the Raging Bolt here. And look at the items. It's Specs, Flutter, and Life Orb Raging Bolt. So, these are going to do a lot of damage, okay? And they're going to be very aggressive. And then the Scarf Chiyu with Snarl is very punishing against the CSR, because you don't need the Tailwind to rely on in terms of to try and outspeed, right? So, you have that going for you. And then, your Trick Room matchup, you have the Furgraph here. Just to also use Imprison too, right? Imprison Trick Room is something that we like also on Furgraph sometimes. Completely shut down the Trick Room idea from a Calyrex-Ice Rider. You also have Expanding Force here, so you can even just deny that if you want to stop any of that kind of play, coming from the like something like an Iron Crown clicking Expanding Force or a Hatterene clicking Expanding Force. You can shut that down too. So pretty cool in itself. Then underneath all of that, then you have what's probably the most interesting one here of the top 8. You got Paul Ruiz here, and he's playing one of his favorites in Chesnaught here. So, this is a lesson for you guys. You can make your favorites work as long as, you give it a defined niche, okay? And what Paul is saying here is this is going to be my Iron Defense Body Press Mon, and it's going to give me Wide Guard support. So, of course, what you're getting with Wide Guard and regulationG, just denying all kinds of spread moves. That's going to be good in the mirror matchup, especially, against another Astral Barrage user. Glacial Lances, Terra Starfall stuff. And speaking of Terapagos, Chesnaught's going to do well into it, which is something that sometimes the Ice Rider can't really do well in. And maybe sometimes your Urshifu is not available. You could definitely do the Chesnaught here and just go with that. And from here, just setting up in a 1v1 scenario where you can just potentially win is also really nice. So shout outs to, Paul for making Chesnaught work here. It makes a lot of sense, in all honesty. Other than that, you're just getting your Fire Water Grass stuff with Instant Urshifu and the Cornerstone Ogre Pond there. Then right here, 6th place, Mr. Riley is using that Iron Crown variant with AV Instant here. So what you're able to do now is you're using Discharge on Koraidon, and that's going to have decent synergy with both Ursaluna and Terra Ground Iron Crown here. So you could summon both of these. All right, pop your Terra, and then just go for Discharge plays, and then just, Tachyon Cutter, Psychic Shock, Terra Blast stuff on the other slot. So that's also available. This is sub Ursaluna. There's no Trick Room here, right? But you can still utilize your substitute. So this way you can keep your Ursaluna safe and force the opponent to potentially break it. Then you still have Whimsicott here, just giving your whole team Tailwind. And Rapid Strike Ursh with Mystic Water is going to do a lot of damage here. So this is pretty cool. AV Instant with Terra Dragon is also a choice here. Again, Dragon Terra just helps against the water weakness and neutralize the ground and the fighting weakness all in itself. And then down here at 8th place, you have a pretty linear but still pretty cool Calyrex-Ice Rider team. You know what you're getting with Indeedee, Hatterene, Torkoal, or Ursaluna, right? This is like a non-restricted hard Trick Room 4. Then you add Ice Rider, right? Because you have a restricted to use, and now you have a lot going for you here. And Imprison Glacial Lance is very punishing along with Imprison Trick Room stuff, so they can't flip the Trick Room against you. And then just Smeargle in general, so punishing with Fake Out, Spore. Okay, Spore and Glacial Lance is a devastating combination, right? We've seen this before with Amoonguss. And now just Decorate plays, making this Calyrex even stronger. Where, not as reliant to try and pick up a KO. You could just use the Decorate, boost yourself up, and then it'll lead to the KO, right? Eruption, Torkoal, Clear Smog as well. So, just really useful against Dondozo teams, removing buffs, and then just Eruption, just a ton of pressure altogether. So I think this is another pretty cool way to use the Calyrex right now that is less common than, for something like the Justin Tang variant. So pretty interesting top 8 here. You saw 1, 2, 3, 4 Zamazentas. All right, that's already like the first thing I noticed. 4 Zamazentas, whereas, Zamazenta in day 2 wasn't used as much, but, 4 of the 8 were a Zamazenta. So that's pretty cool. And again, 3 of the 4 had a Chien-Pao variant here, right? And I do like Zamazenta Chien-Pao. I think that's like a really solid and consistent way to play it. So if you want to use Zam, definitely use like a Chien-Pao idea. Any of these will be fine here. You get 1 CSR, you get 1 of these Maridon teams here, the Dozo variant. And I expect to see this also in EUIC. I definitely think the Soak idea is pretty cool in itself. So we'll see how far that can get, or if that does pick up in usage later on. But I think it's pretty interesting to try and play the Tatsugiri that way. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the other teams, that were also pretty cool and pretty successful in this tournament. And let's see what else we can find in terms of niche options that did well. All right, so let's look at some more Calyrex-Ice Rider teams here. So we've seen already the variant with Torkoal and Ursaluna stuff. That's already like pretty straightforward here. But there's some other cool ideas. Yes, we do see the Justin Tang, Shilian Tang team. Of course, you knew you were going to see that. But there's some other ideas here. Gilberto over here, I think this is like more or less the world's idea with Iron Valiant, Encore coaching stuff with Wide support. Again, really useful for the Calyrex-Ice Rider to take advantage of. And then still, you're utilizing the Amoonguss Landorus combination here. So I like this. And then you get Weather Control with the Pelipper, which also enables the Urshifu. So I like this idea. It's still consistent even right now, considering how long we've been playing Regulation G. Then you've got Williams' team here. So it's still also utilizing Smeargle stuff, but it's not Torkoal, it's just regular Blood Moon or Saluna stuff. So you can definitely use it like this. And then you have some balanced pieces here with Heart Flame Ogerpon, with, Single Strike Urshifu here. So again, good matchup into the CSR, and then Indeedee giving you control against the Maridon matchup. Same thing with Blood Moon, also pretty good against Maridon. And the CSR as well, just because you are that normal type. You don't take Astro Barrage damage. Heart Flame Ogerpon, good redirector, good solid damage dealer. And then, of course, Smeargle with Spore Pressure along with Decorate plays, right? And you know what you're getting with Fake Out and Follow Me here. Some of the best support moves in the game that Smeargle has access to. So I do like Williams' team. But then you get Grimmsnarl here. So like a little bit more balanced pieces here. You get Grimmsnarl, Ogerpon, Heart Flame again, and the Rapid Strike Urshifu along with Taunt here. So this is utilizing a little bit more bulk here. You got screens, you got bulk here, and then you still have this Bolt Beam combination with Raging Bolt and Calyrex-Ice Rider. So yeah, and then Terra Fairy Calyrex, again, you'll see that compete with like Terra Poison right now, of course. Just having that resistance against the dark type damage is going to be really, really solid. And then, this one's a little bit more interesting. Also, you got the Torkoal idea here instead of the Blood Moon. And then you have Rillaboom here, for terrain advantage rather than Indeedee. So you can still have Fake Out, Wicked Blow ideas. Again, just hard to switch into that, especially when you have a band set over here. Snarl support is really nice. And you still get Wide Guard here. Okay, so abandoning the Decorate play, but you still have Wide Guard along with Fake Out, Spore, and Follow Me there. So nice, another way to really play around with the Smeargle, just giving up the Decorate idea. I think it's okay. I think Wide Guard is very, very valuable all in itself. So yeah, you get to see some of these Ice Rider teams there. So still looking pretty good there. Again, nothing we haven't really seen already. It's just a matter of like what variant do you want to bring to a tour. These are all ideas that have been proven already. And I do expect to see them move forward a little bit more into EUIC. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, with the Shadow Rider, notice the hyper offensive variants here. So you got Whimsicott here from Paul Reeves. And then after that, you got 3 Tornadus Calyrex Shadow Rider teams. Again, it's just all about that mirror matchup here. And even one down here with the Whimsicott, even though it went 5-4. So if you even just look at this, like this is like balance idea with Tailwind stuff. And we've seen this before already, in the GC and even just prior to that. But again, you've got your Urshifu with your balance ideas, right? Incin, Ogerpon, and Rillaboom. And then the Tornadus just gives you that advantage with Tailwind, and enables the Urshifu at the same time here. So this is pretty cool. But again, double fake out, and you got redirection support, so you can try and set up this nasty plot with Draining Kiss. So that's also pretty cool there. Then down here with the Clefairy, again, Friend Guard is broken. After You is great in Trick Room because, again, Clefairy is slower than Calyrex. So you can just click After You, and then your Astral Barrage goes before the Calyrex. So that's pretty cool. And then same thing again over here, Rain Dance, Tailwind, enabling this Urshifu here, right? So Clefairy, another good support piece for the Shadow Rider, able to redirect, a lot of the dark moves from harm's way. Especially if there are priority moves like Sucker Punch, the Clefairy can help you deal with that, right? So then from here, it's another Clefairy team, and it's almost the same one, except this one is with Incin rather than Chiyu. But same thing here, again, these balance pieces along with Incin Safety Goggles. But this is the substitute Calyrex, along with Terra Blast, Terra Fighting, which is really cool because, again, you can use that against another Incineroar and, potentially KO it, which is really, really nice, or other dark types in general. So that's also something to consider, right? And the Clefairy, again, here with the After You support is just something that's relatively solid, standard, and consistent, okay? So the CSR pieces, they're looking to play a little bit more aggressive. Now, there are some Indeedee variants. Like this one almost looks like Sword and Shield a little bit, with Whimsicott, Aleki Ursh, right? A little bit, but not quite. But I don't hate this idea either, okay? I do think, Indeedee Calyrex teams are also pretty cool, especially with like the Tailwind stuff. So I think something like this could be good later on. I don't know if we need the Aleki slot there, but I understand the Aleki. Again, you get to outspeed everything and just click E-Webs, and the Calyrex capitalizes off of the chip. But we'll have to see what happens moving forward with something like this. But I don't hate the idea of Tailwind within Indeedee. So we'll see what happens more, with CSR. For Zamazenta, we've already covered like most of the strong cores, especially from that top 8, but there was one Zamazenta that kind of stood out to me, and that was this one down here at 7-3 from Alexis Hernandez. Look at this. This is regular Zamazenta with Grassy Seed, okay? Yeah, no, I'm looking at it. It's regular Zamazenta with Grassy Seed, okay? Body Press Substitute Wide Guard, okay? So you got 2 support moves here, more or less, okay? I'm just surprised that this is what we're looking at here. But again, you are 10 base speed faster. Like if you just compare this Zom with the other one, okay? 138 does go a long way, okay? So that was a pretty interesting call and choice, right? But then after that, you got Chen-Pao Rillaboom stuff still. So very, very interesting choice. I just want to go what was the thought process in choosing this Zamazenta. So I don't know if Alexis watches our videos at all, but that was a choice, okay? And I respect it. It's a pretty cool idea, okay? It does make sense, right? You're still getting that defense boost to make your body press hit a little bit harder. Blood Moon Ursaluna, again, good for Miraidon, good for Calyrex. Rillaboom Terrain with Control, also really good. Same thing with Amoonguss, your Trick Room matchup. And then Whimsicott is just a little bit more aggressive here with your Zomp and or Blood Moon Ursaluna, all things considered, right? So I do respect it. It's just a little bit shocking to see, right? But it does make sense. One Zacian team here, outside of the top 8 here, this is 9th place from Sebastian Bisbal. We know this person relatively well in previous formats here. So let's take a look at Sebastian here. And the whole idea is that there's no Regidrago here. You're still getting Tornadus. You still have Ogerpon and Urshifu here. No coaching though, okay? But you do get Landorus here. So that's going to help your Miraidon matchup a little bit. And then the idea here is, when you use the Landorus, okay, and the Miraidon is scared, they're going to Terra out of that electric typing. Usually it's going to be Fairy, and then that's where Zacian can come in and start clicking Behemoth Blade, because otherwise it would just resist it because you are an electric type. So then from here, you just have strong physical options here with Heart Flame and Urshifu Rapid Strike, your Fire, Water, Grass core. You've got your Amoonguss matchup here. You have Taunt on this Urshifu too. So, and again, the straight up Tailwind Rain Dance idea to enable this Ursh. And you can also enable the Landorus this way as well. So it's a pretty cool take on the Zacian idea here. So we'll have to see if this gets used a little bit more. But Zacian is just, one of those B tier restricted. So we'll have to wait and see. But I just thought it was a pretty cool take on it. And the results show if you're able to get 9th place with the Zacian squad there. So shout outs to Sebastian there. Makes a lot of sense with a lot of these pieces. Right now, in terms of Terapagos, the most popular way to build it is these balance pieces, with fake outs and redirections, and just try and set up the Calm Minds and substitutes. But the best Pagos team here, okay, and I've said this before, I think another way to play it is that Tailwind Choice Specs idea, and that's exactly what you saw over here, that 7-3 from Max Antonio. Look at this, a more aggressive Terapagos with Tornadus. So you're getting Tailwind stuff, but now this is Specs Pagos with Dark Pulse, Earth Power, Starstorm, and Hyper Beam here. And again, you have the Smeargle here that can use Decorate and really help the Pagos, go for glory here, right? And Volcarona, this is, and Screamtail, this is really good against Zamazenta stuff. Again, just being able to redirect those fighting moves away and resist it and then burn it. And at the same time, you have Encore Disable shenanigans. So this way, you stop and lock things that want to go for fake out into the Pagos. And now they just are forced to switch there, and it's going to be big damage too. Iron Hands, also pretty cool here, that you have fake out potential here as well. Low Kick, again, really good at the Calyrex matchup as well, and pretty good into Maridon too, technically, right? So I do like this team. This is actually pretty solid, and honestly, I would play it too. If I had the rental, I do definitely want to use this, but this is a pretty cool Terapagos team here. It's way better than some of the more boring balance stuff. Kyogre, there were some, 6-3 Kyogre teams there, so not too bad here. I do like this one, of course, just because it fits my playstyle a little bit, where you have the double Genie and Urshifu. Okay, I think that's always really, really cool. And then either this is something like Serena or Indeedee, but you just need something like in terms of anti-priority, especially against Raging Bolt and Rillaboom that pressures the Ogre. So Indeedee does give you that idea. And then you have Trick Room here. So pretty cool in itself. Goggles, Taunt. Again, we've seen that before on the Urshifu. Then you add Arkeladon Sash though. This is the one that interested me, right? You have Sash, Arkeladon with Stalwart, and it's Snarl, Electroshot, and Meteor. And of course, Terra goes there to whiff the fighting move there. So this is probably a 252, 252 Arkeladon, but it's just pretty interesting why, you have Draco, Meteor, Snarl, and Electroshot here. But again, boosted Electroshot, really, really cool. And you always have that one lifeline here. This is almost like sturdy Arkeladon for that matter. You don't need body press stamina stuff if you don't have the Assault Vest here. So why not just go Stalwarts with Sash? And I think that's also like pretty cool here. So I do like this kind of Kyogre team. I think it's pretty interesting. How about this one over here? Like this one has a Fortress here. And again, it's an Iron Defense Body Press mod with Overcoat. So you get to ignore Mungus stuff. And again, you just have so much physical bulk, you're going to do a lot with your body press here. And then Rest, Sleep, Talk just means longevity and still able to click attacks. You still have this double Genie idea with Urshifu yet again. There's that 4-man core. And then instead of Indeedee, you have a Serena here. So again, still, taking or making good use of your anti-priority mods. And then this last slot here is your niche slot. So instead of Arkeladon, you have the Fortress here, right? So maybe another case of like trying to win with your favorites, but making sure they have a defined role here. And that's exactly what we're doing here. And you still see some of Oliver teams, right? With the Calm Mind Ogre stuff. This one looks like Calm Mind Ogre if I've ever seen it. Okay, and it is. You got the screens, you get fake out redirection stuff. Makes a lot of sense here. This is AV Arkeladon for that matter, right? Along with Snarl. So, you can definitely play Kyogre like this if you so choose. And in fact, there's also one down here, almost the same thing, but there's some differences in some of their choices here. This one has Ursh, but again, still Calm Mind, Ice Beam, Origin Pulse here. And again, no Tailwind support here. You're just going with the Grimmsnarl screen stuff, but screens, double fake out redirection, definitely lots of opportunity to set up the Kyogre. And just make this thing super bulky overall, right? So I do like those ideas. We'll see if they pan out a little bit more later on, but I think Grimmsnarl Kyogre teams are pretty cool. Not too much from Koraidon here. Again, it's already like a BU tier restricted anyway, and we are in a smaller regional, but there was at least one pretty decent one here. And it actually involved Walking Wake over here. So you know what you're getting with, Fluttermane and Chiyu here. Only one Photosynthesis mon on this team, right? But you also still have Chien-Pao here, helping you out, do a little bit more damage. Icy Wind, Sunny Day, and Thunder Wave there. Again, abandoning Protector, just going all 3 support moves. Covert Cloak, Snarl, Chiyu here. Makes a lot of sense. You don't get faked out, and you can still go for the Snarl stuff. And then this Walking Wake here with Hydro Steam, Draco Meteor, and Weather Ball, right? So instead of Flamethrower, we also have Weather Ball here. So in the sun, you know what you're getting, but also in the rain, you also know what you're getting, which is kind of cool when you really think about it. You know, Weather Ball being very, very versatile here. So I respect that idea because, again, you don't want to be clicking Draco Meteor all the time, right? And sometimes Hydro Steam, again, pretty cool. But also like Weather Ball just gives you something else to click outside of the sun, you know, in another weather. So I do think that's pretty cool there, especially if the Tornadus just want to go for like Tailwind, Rain Dance stuff. Your Weather Ball is now a water type attack, so you can do with that with what you will, even though Hydro Steam also benefits, you know, from that at the same time. Cornerstone Ogerpon, common partner with Koraidon along with Chien-Pao here. I think, again, sturdy, really good in a regulationG format, especially with so much damage coming around there, just guaranteed survival along with Chien-Pao. So you have two Pokemon with a Sash essentially, right? So I think that's always like a pretty safe way to play Koraidon. And it's interesting to see Walking Wake as opposed to Raging Bolt in that kind of slot. You know we love Lunala, and every time we find one, we always try to spotlight it here. So this will be the last thing to look at. But 163 Lunala squad to 21st place here. But this is a Terra Fairy Moon Blast Calm Mind set. So this is the one thing that Lunala has an advantage over the CSR. Because again, CSR only gets Draining Kiss, but you get a stronger fairy type attack with Moonblast. And Calm Mind is pretty good here with Leftovers Recovery and Rillaboom Grassy Terrain. You know, you get to get back to full health, keep your Shadow Shield, and, you know, essentially a +1 and a +1 special defense. Then you add Incineroar for physical attack damage reduction. And now you're just making it so that the Lunala becomes unbreakable with all this damage reduction, right? You have double Fake Out Pressure. You have redirection support here. So you have opportunities to set up this Calm Mind. But then just Tornadus, Raw, Bleak Wind, and Raw Tailwind is also pretty cool with Lunala here. No Moongeist. Oh, no, there is Moongeist Beam. I was just going to say no Moongeist Beam. Right, but then I was reading it over like Moonblast. All right, but this is another cool way. I just think you're just working harder with Lunala and something like this. You could easily just replace this with Calyrex Shadow Rider, and I think it's just a better team and more options too, and it's just more aggressive. But the user wanted to play with Lunala to try and take advantage of a little bit more bulk and of course the Moonblast idea. So to each their own. But Felipe, great job with Lunala. Shout outs to you. Anyway, that's it for now, folks, in our recap for Merida, and we'll try and look at the Victory Road tournament that also wrapped up this weekend. I think that's also something else that people are also looking at as well. And again, just more data is very useful in terms of planning out your team building, especially if you're going to some big tournament like EUIC. Okay, from here, if you are still trying to look for a squad and you need a little bit of help, we still have some coaching slots available. So if you need a team building session, make sure you're signed up. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one session with me. And from there, you can message me on Discord, and then, you know, we'll plan out a common time to meet and get you a squad that you need for an upcoming tournament, right? Even if it's not a regional, if you just need something for ladder play, or if you're just trying to get better in general, we can help you out, you know. So book your session with me. Look in the video description below. Take a look at the link. Join the channel with that tier 3 sub. And the same link will be available in the pinned comment section in case you miss it. It's the same link to join the channel with that tier 3 sub. You can join the Discord, that's free. Okay, and then from there, you can interact with our community. We have over 1,000 members over there, and they're all very active and all looking to get better at VGC at the same time too. So if you're looking for a community to join ours. All right, but that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out, and have a good one.